and welcome to the virtual worship service of Buckman Bridge Unitarian Universalist Church. We are so glad you could visit with us this morning from wherever you are, both physically and spiritually. Ours is a welcoming faith. We make it a point to meet you where you are so that we can grow together into a stronger community. If you would like to learn more about our church and the many virtual ways to get involved, you can visit our website at bbuuc.org. To learn more about Unitarian Universalism, you can visit the Unitarian Universalist Association website at uua.org. For now, we invite you to relax your thoughts, open your heart, and join us in worship.
Good morning, I'm Claudia Marshall, and I'm doing our chalice lighting reading this morning. We light our chalice this morning, grateful for the love that we experience in this beloved community. May the flame light the way for all who seek such abundance. Amen.
Good morning. I am Reverend Amy Moses Lagos, and it is my privilege to serve as the half-time contract minister at Buckman Bridge Unitarian Universalist Church. I use the pronouns she and her. Our opening words this morning are written by Tim Haley. Amid all the noise in our lives, we take this moment to sit in silence, to give thanks for another day, to give thanks for all those in our lives who have brought us warmth and love, to give thanks for the gift of life. We know we are on our pilgrimage here, but a brief moment in time. Let us open ourselves here, now, to the process of becoming more whole, of living more fully, of giving and forgiving more freely, of understanding more completely the meaning of our lives here on this earth. Come, let us worship together. This morning, I want to share a story with you called The Prince and the Rhinoceros. It comes from the book Rhinos and Raspberries, Tolerance Tales for the Early Grades. Once upon a time in India, a rare rhinoceros was born, with skin so beautiful it almost glowed. The rhinoceros was given to a noble prince who was very lonely and whose kingdom was poor. The prince was so delighted with the unusual gift that he laughed joyfully, so he named the little calf Great Joy. The prince treated the rhino with great kindness. He fed her rice, fruit, and choice tender plants. And he always spoke in a kind and gentle voice. Great Joy grew and was happy. The prince thought Great Joy was quite beautiful. In time, Great Joy grew into an enormous rhino. She was very strong. One day, she thought about her good life with the prince and wondered what she could give him in return. I am only a rhino, but I can use my strength to help him earn gold for his kingdom. She suggested to the prince that she compete in a contest of strength against the town's strongest bulls. A rich merchant with many fine oxen agreed to the wager. Great Joy would pull 100 loaded wagons, usually towed by his team of 8 oxen. The bet was 1,000 gold pieces. The next day, the prince inspected the wagons and harnessed Great Joy to the front. Great Joy waited for a few kind words of encouragement before starting. Instead, the prince, thinking only of the gold, shouted, "Pull, you big wretch! Move, you worthless rhino!" Great Joy was shocked at her beloved prince's words. Wretch? Worthless? I'm no wretch, she thought. I'm not worthless either. She stiffened her huge legs and refused to move an inch. Humiliated, the prince ran home and hid in his royal bed. I'm ruined, he cried. Great Joy was filled with pain and sorrow. She went to the prince and asked, "O prince, in all our years together, have I ever done anything to hurt you?" "No, never." "Then why did you say those terrible things to me?" The prince hung his head. "The gold distracted me. I forgot the importance of our friendship. I am so ashamed." "Then we will try again," Great Joy said. "Go back to the merchant and double your bet." Again, the carts were loaded, and Great Joy was harnessed to the front. The prince climbed up and sang out, "All right, you marvelous marvel, you splendid rhino, my great joy, it's up to you." The powerful rhino snorted, pawed the ground, and charged forward. Her sides heaved as she pulled until the last cart crossed the finish line. The townspeople cheered wildly as they covered her with garlands of flowers and strands of tinkling bells. The prince collected his 2,000 pieces of gold, then humbly thanked Great Joy for a job well done. That very evening, the prince and the rhino walked along the river in the red glow of sunset. "I didn't mean to say such hurtful words to you," the prince whispered. "Please forgive me." "I already have," said Great Joy. And that's how they lived forever after, in friendship and great joy. Never again did an unkind word pass between them. And with this, our story is told. Until the next time. This is the time in our service when we pause to create sacred space in our hearts. We pause to reflect on the recent days with joys, sorrows, fears, gratitude, and love. We recall the milestones, the changes in our lives, and those who need our healing thoughts. Our community is deepened by sharing. We light a candle of joy for Bonnie M's sister, who has recovered from COVID and is able to return to nursing. Another candle for Steve M., who completed the cataract surgery of his second eye and is now enjoying a renewed view of colors. Our birthdays this week receive candles of joy and celebration for Annabelle G., whose birthday is tomorrow, the 23rd, along with Arabella V., who shares the same date. Happy birthday candles are ignited for Alyssa H., who celebrates on the 24th, and also for David A., whose celebration is on the 28th. Warm birthday wishes to you all. We light a candle of joy and congratulations for Peter and Joy H., who celebrate their wedding anniversary this week on the 25th. A candle of joy and gratitude for our wonderful BBUUC Beacon Youth, who collaborated, created, and presented a special worship service last Sunday about knowing who you are. We are so proud of them all, both in front of the camera and behind the scenes. Youth empowerment is a valued practice of our UU faith community. We light a candle for all of the BBUUC members who contributed so generously to the food, clothing, and hygiene drive for the Northeast Florida AIDS Network and Jasmine. The Rainbow Welcoming Ministry enjoyed seeing you at the drive-thru, used plate cash to buy more, and delivered boxes and boxes of warmth, food, and love for the coming winter. Thank you. we light one final candle for all those joys and concerns which remain unspoken and present in our hearts this morning. At this time, we will play hymn 128, For All That Is Our Life. If you would like to join in song, I invite you to do so.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life. For sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
We know that our financial contributions to this congregation come from sacrifice and hard work. We are so grateful for this and commit together to ensure the funds we gather collectively do a greater good for ourselves and our world than they could have done alone. The November offering benefits BBUUC's Rainbow Welcoming Ministry, which encourages recognition, support, and respect for LGBTQ+ identity. We welcome whatever offering you are willing to make in these challenging times. If you would like to contribute, you can click the link on our YouTube page to do so. May there be an offering to sustain and grow the life and mission of this congregation. May we give in love and hope.
For many years, I had a very sweet and very active cat named Diego. Diego had black fur on his back and white fur on his tummy, and so he was called a tuxedo cat because he looked like he was wearing a tuxedo. Diego was a really good hunter, and we learned that we needed to keep the doors to the house closed in the summer months because otherwise he might bring his prey inside our house. He was also a very sweet and cuddly cat. He loved to sit on my lap and let me pet him, and he loved to sleep next to me at night. Sometimes, when I was really busy and I had to close myself inside my office to get work done, he would lay down and curl up outside my office door and wait for me to be finished so that he could sit in my lap again. One evening, Diego went out roaming in the neighborhood, which he did a lot, but he didn't come back the next morning. And then he didn't come back the morning after that. I started to get really worried. I worried he might be lost or injured, or he even could have been killed. It was so hard to not know what had happened to him. I made lots of posters and I put them up all over the neighborhood. I walked for blocks, calling in his name and whistling for him. I posted an announcement on nextdoor.com asking if anyone had seen a black and white cat. I got a false lead and met a very friendly black and white cat who was not my cat, unfortunately. I was so worried. And as time went by, I thought maybe Diego wasn't going to come home. And I was really sad about that. Well, one evening, my husband was walking our dog in the neighborhood, and he was coming back through the alley to our house, and he heard Diego meowing. It was coming from the neighbor's garage, a few houses down from our house. Well, he came home to tell me, and we went and knocked on our neighbor's door. And we explained the situation. Then we brought our ladder over to the neighbor's house, and Ricardo climbed up the ladder. Well, Diego had gone through a hole in the roof of the garage, and then he had gotten stuck in the crawl space inside the garage. The opening had been just big enough for him to get in, but once he got in, he was stuck in that tiny little space and he couldn't figure out how to get out. And he was there for about 5 days. So he was very scared, but Ricardo managed to reach in and pull him out and bring him back to our house. When we found Diego, I was so relieved. I experienced gratitude filling my heart and spilling over into joy. I was so grateful that he was home and safe. I felt such a strong sense of gratitude for who he was as a cat, for how playful and sweet he was, and the love and connection that we shared every day. Sometimes a feeling of gratitude spontaneously rises in our hearts in response to the external events around us. In the book Grateful, The Subversive Practice of Giving Thanks, Diana Bass Butler writes, at its simplest level, gratitude involves feelings. We feel thankful. Some event transpires, and we feel grateful for a particular resolution, a good medical test for ourselves or a loved one, missing a collision with an oncoming car, the safe birth of a baby, a new job or financial provision, and any number of life's surprises or events. In the popular TED Talk, Want to Be Happy, Be Grateful, the Benedictine monk, Brother David Steindl Rast, explains the feeling of gratitude. He says this: we experience gratefulness when we experience something that is valuable to us and it's really given. These two things have to come together. You haven't bought it, you haven't earned it. When these things come together, gratefulness spontaneously rises in my heart. When we found Diego and he was alive and healthy, it was an external event that was incredibly valuable to me. I was given the gift of having my cat safe and home with me, and gratitude arose inside me. A few years after that time, Diego was stuck in the neighbor's garage. He once again didn't come home one night. And then he was gone for 2 nights. And sadly, the second time, Diego was killed by a coyote in the neighborhood. A neighbor came and told us what had happened. I was devastated and heartbroken. I had loved him so much, and he brought so much joy to my life. I wasn't grateful for the news, and I didn't feel grateful at all when I first heard the news. I just felt sad and miserable. But time went on, and my broken heart started to heal. I gave myself time and space to cry and feel sad over this loss. And in time, I felt gratitude. I was grateful for friends and family members who reached out to call or send a note or text and let me know they were thinking of me. I was grateful for all the time that I did have to spend with Diego. Grateful for him sitting on my lap, grateful for the times I played with him with his feather toy, and grateful for how sweet he was. I even felt grateful that we learned what had happened to him. Even though it was sad, it allowed us to have a sense of closure around his loss, and my heart could start to be mended. Grief and gratitude were dance partners, moving to the music of memories in my heart. Diego was my cat companion for 9 years, but those are the two moments that stand out to me when I think about when I felt grateful for him. When he returned home safely, my gratitude took the form of joy and happiness, and my days were a little brighter in the time after he returned. In the time after his death, gratitude helped me heal my grief and shift into peace and acceptance of the loss. The great spiritual teachers of the world tell us that we shouldn't wait for a significant event of great joy before we practice gratitude. Brother David Steindl Rast tells us it's not happiness that causes us to be grateful. It is being grateful that causes us to feel happy. And the research professor and writer Brene Brown says something very similar, that it's not being joyful that makes us grateful, but rather practicing gratitude brings more joy into our lives. There's a difference between feeling gratitude spontaneously and consciously choosing to practice gratitude in our everyday lives. In my many years of living with Diego, lots of days went by when I didn't feel grateful for him. I remember some of those days because they're days when he brought fleas into the house or days when he peed on the laundry. In those moments, I was focused on the stress and the annoyance that Diego unwillingly caused us in our lives, rather than the joy that he brought to us. But even on those days when I was annoyed with the fleas or having to do extra laundry, I still could have chosen to practice gratitude. I could have thought about what I was grateful for during those ordinary life circumstances or even difficult life circumstances. Brene Brown says that in her research, the people who were the most joyful had a tangible gratitude practice. Some of them kept a gratitude journal. Some of them paused every day at 12:34, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and noticed something they were grateful for. Brene Brown says that her family started saying what they were grateful for before they said grace before a meal. Brother Steindl Rast acknowledges that we can't be grateful for everything that happens in our lives. He says, you can't be grateful for war in a given situation, or violence, or domestic violence, or sickness, things like that. There are many things for which you cannot be grateful. But in every moment, you can be grateful. For instance, the opportunity to learn something from a very difficult experience, or even to protest, to take a stand. That is a wonderful gift in a situation in which things are not the way they ought to be. In this time of COVID-19, as we approach the Thanksgiving holiday, there is a lot to grieve. According to the New York Times, the coronavirus pandemic is spreading with frightening speed throughout the United States, shattering records on a daily basis, stretching medical resources to the breaking point, and once again prompting states, counties, and cities to consider economically devastating lockdowns. We are grieving the loss of life, the suffering of those who are ill, and the devastating economic impacts of this virus. We are heading into a holiday which for many has been a time to gather with friends and family over food and to feel a sense of love, connection, and gratitude. Many are feeling a sense of loss that we will not be able to gather in person the way we have in the past. It is so important to acknowledge these losses, to acknowledge this pain, and give ourselves time to process it. Practicing gratitude means expanding our awareness beyond the losses and the grief, and acknowledging that there is still joy, beauty, love, and connection in the world. It means holding the grief and the joy, the beauty and the pain. Even as people grieve the loss of coming together for Thanksgiving, we can still give thanks for what we do have. We have the opportunity to be creative and come up with new ways of celebrating the holidays. We can give thanks for the love that is still strong, even as we are apart. For some people, the Thanksgiving meal might be something that they dread every year, and they may be giving thanks that it's not happening. Sometimes we encounter moments in life of such extraordinary love and beauty that our hearts spontaneously fill with gratitude. When those moments come, may we embrace them with an open heart. And in the ordinary or even challenging moments of your life, I hope there are some times when you make the choice to practice gratitude and notice the love and beauty that surrounds you. I hope that choice brings more peace and more joy into your life. May we all find moments of beauty and joy that bless us, and may practicing gratitude bring more joy, peace, and wholeness into our lives and our world. May it be so. Amen.
You're my life, you're my breath, you're a smile, you're my guest. You're the earth, you're the sun, you're the grass, you are love. You're my hands, you're a bug, you're my eyes, you're a hug. You're the light in the dark, you're the spark, you are fun. You're my mom, you are water, you're the stars, you're my daughter. You're my friend till the end, you're my dreams, you're my father. You're the ants on the ground, the miracles that surround. I'm feeling it all around, the hemisphere in the clouds. You're my pain, you're my sorrow, you're my hope for tomorrow. You're the strength when I'm hollow, you're the path that I follow. You're the blessings that exist, the small things that are bliss. The gift to realize that everything
all
is a
that
gift.
I am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all, for it all. Grateful for it all.
You're the blessings every time I try to count. You're the lessons that I learn every time I turn around. You're the water when I'm burned every time I think I found everything I'm looking for. You're the sign saying stop to take a bow and keep moving forward. Then start looking towards your heart. It'll open all the doors and only then you'll start to hear the world singing chorus with your mind and heart. Aligned in purpose, everything
All
will feel
that I
gorgeous.
am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all, for it all.
Every day I sit and pray cause what I have is more than I deserve or could ever imagine. How do I give back to all of this magic and spread the love so everybody can have it? Doesn't matter if I'm rich or poor, if I got a family or if I'm all alone. Bad things happen, I can just complain and moan. But there's a million things that I can be grateful for.
So I lift up my hands now, and I open my heart, and my gratitude goes out to everything near and far. All that I am,
Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I look deep down and feel all the blessings. Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, everything I feel and everything I be. I'm grateful for it all. It's amazing. Everything I am and everything I see, everything I hope and everything I dream, that exist, the small things that are bliss, the gift to realize that everything is a gift.
Wait, one more. This is for y'all.
All that I am.
All that I see.
All that I've been.
It's a blessing.
It's so amazing.
I am grateful
And now we take our leave. Before we gather here again, may each of us bring happiness into another's life. May we each be surprised by the gifts that surround us. May each of us be enlivened by constant curiosity. And may we remain together in spirit till the hour we meet again.